Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Side of Hustle, where I chat with some friends, some colleagues about their small businesses or projects that they are working on, help them tell their story, and hopefully expand their network and community. I have a very vivid memory. When I was a kid, I was sitting in my toy box, and all my toys were all over the living room. My grandfather said, "Why do you have so many toys?" And I simply responded, "I love toys." And that is why I have this next guest on today. My very good friend Joy Belding has Joy's Toy Store. She wants to help you connect with some childhood memories or maybe get rid of some things that are just kind of cluttering up your house. So please welcome to the show, Joy Belding. Joy, how are you?
I am really good. How are you, Doug?
I'm doing very, very well. I have to ask because it'll be documented that we are in this unprecedented time.
Yes.
How is everything going?
Everything is fine. Just wanting to take a break from the kids every once in a while. But besides that, everything's good. I like to be away from people sometimes. I like nature. I like beer. So really, it's not horrible. So
you're checking all the boxes of a perfect life.
It is minus the whole friends hanging out with you with the outdoors and the beer and taking the children for a couple hours. That'd be great.
Some alone time within the alone time would be delightful.
Yeah, exactly.
So we were actually just talking before we started here. We've known each other for the better part of 10 years or so. Is that about right? More
yeah.
than 10 years.
Yeah.
And we met through Green Slime and Orange Everything at the Nickelodeon Family Suites.
Yes.
A time frame that I want to forget, but I can't.
Well, you cried a lot. I had a blast.
I'm not denying that fact.
No, I loved it there. I think you had some good moments than you remember.
That's really true. I did. It was a time frame where I did really enjoy it. I learned a lot about myself and what I wanted and what I didn't want. Let's talk about the improv extra stuff for a while. You've been a stand-up comedian for numerous years, and you came into Nickelodeon as an improv actor. How does one get into or find that they are good at improv?
There's a couple of ways. A, your friends tell you, because that's a good sign that you're not. When you tell jokes, your friends aren't like, "Please stop." When they're like, "You're funny." That's a good sign. Two, taking classes. And there's lots of places you can do that for kids and adults. Obviously, I do work at Osseo Arts, and we have stuff like that. SAC Comedy down in Orlando also teaches improv. So there's lots of places that you can start doing it and just see if you're good at it. It's one of those feelings of, I think I'm funny. Let's see if anyone else thinks so.
Nickelodeon definitely lended itself to that sort of like complete improv, ridiculous, do whatever you want sort of mindset.
Right.
And, now you and in that regard, you've side hustled for as long as I've known you. Like you've always Nickelodeon was sort of a set 9 to 5 of sorts, but then you did crazy other things. Let's run down the list of all the things that you have been part of over the past.
I would say it started honestly when I moved to Florida. Mm-hmm. Actually, when you're trying to find a job, I left college, graduated, moved down to Florida. Was auditioning to try to get a job. And as you know, auditioning, you don't just get the first gig unless you're super, super talented. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking, and I am talented. Let's preface there. You can edit that part out if you'd like. But no, you have to audition. You don't know if you're going to get anything. So I decided to start going to local theme parks and buying merchandise. This was back early 2000. Buying merchandise. Mind you, I was not working for these companies. Just going to the shops, buying it, and then flipping it and selling it online because they're park exclusives. Now everything's a little more mainstream. Internet's a lot more than it was in 2003. But yeah, that's how it would be my little side hustle, making money until I got that gig I wanted, or if I was just doing little gigs, that's how I did it. So that's how it started.
Okay.
And then got jobs, side hustling and doing stand-up, doing some improv, selling toys, selling comic books, pop culture items. Mm-hmm. Skip forward, my son was born and wanted to be the stay-at-home, so everything was a side hustle. Sure. It was just doing random acting gigs here and there. It was having Joystoystore full-time pretty much, and then doing little things. It was doing comedy, doing acting, selling toys, and hanging out with my family. So it was all kind of a side hustle for a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So again, that collective, like, perfect, checked all the boxes life of where you get to do what you want to do and
Right.
still get to do what you have to do at the same time. I guess supposedly in the industry, we would say you're a freelancer of many, many different hats.
Yes.
So when did Joy's Toy Store officially begin?
When I think about 5 years ago, I think it's when Chase, my son, was born, is when it just wasn't working to have a job and then have to pay for daycare. And it was just easier to have my wife work and I could do the side hustle, which was still difficult with a baby. Don't get me wrong. That is still a full-time job. But during those naps and during those little times, about 5 or 6 years ago is when I was doing it full-time. I was going and doing Comic-Con, stuff like that, selling on Amazon, selling on Etsy, selling on eBay, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Just using all the platforms as possible to get
Yeah.
through. So you sort of started with the theme park collectibles, the exclusive merchandise from that series. When did you decide to really focus on the toys? Because I mentioned to someone the other day that you're really great at finding those toys that connect with someone's either childhood or someone's personal interests. Hence the Lost shirt that I have on right now. You were working for a comic book store at the time, and I was like, hey, they released these Lost card set. How do I get it? And within like a week, you had them all for me. So when did you transition from the theme park collectibles
Right.
to like actual collectibles?
Well, to be honest, it was toys collectibles actually that I was flipping, but I've always had the Peter Pan syndrome. Everyone calls me a big kid, and I just think that stuck with me. I don't know, being an only child and just toys were awesome and a part of my world a lot. Didn't have siblings. So it's kind of like you made your own world and had fun with that imagination. So I think that's just kind of always stuck with something I really liked. And then, of course, it's always toys you never had as a kid. I think that's how a lot of us collectors, it's like, man, I wanted that He-Man castle, and I did not get Castle Grayskull, and I'm going to get it now. So I think that's how it kind of started, and then it just kept going. So why not, while I'm going out looking for stuff I like, make money at the same time?
Yeah.
So it kind of really went full force when Chase was born, where I just started doing the toy hunting and all that kind of stuff, which is a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work because I could go to 20 thrift stores and get a stuffed animal that has stains on it, and I've spent all that gas money, and I still got to try to find things. And you almost have to get out of your comfort zone, because I've sold things obviously besides collectibles because you got to pay the bills. So I've learned about records. I've learned about sewing patterns. I've learned about glassware. You kind of like learn clothing, sporting goods, all that kind of stuff. You start learning, and it's almost it is a full-time job because you literally, it's research. I mean, people write books on this of, hey, here's all this sports stuff that you could literally go into a store. Someone be like, oh, that's just the Adidas sweatshirt. I don't want that. And then you go, wait a second, that's a limited edition Adidas sweatshirt worth $55. Stuff like that. Yeah.
So to date, what's been maybe the hardest thing that you've had to search for?
Honestly, it's usually just toys from the 80s, 70s and 80s. Just because usually if it's a certain person looking for something, they've probably already looked and you can't find it. So it's usually rare Ghostbuster items, rare Star Wars items, stuff like that. And sometimes you just can't find them without spending a fortune, or they're from overseas and you don't have that guarantee that you're going to get it. It could get lost at sea, as they say, or whatever. So I would say definitely more of the vintage stuff.
Okay. So what's the ratio for you of like just finding stuff and then being asked to find stuff?
I would say 99% just finding stuff, 1% people. It's mostly friends who will be like, hey, I'm looking for this. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Because it's fun. It's just like when I literally get a bin of toys at a garage sale, I got to figure out what all those toys are. I don't know everything. There's toys. As much as I've been doing this for years and years, I don't know every single toy line. And there's always new toys. So it's kind of like a fun little treasure hunt. It's my own little national treasure that I get to do with toys.
Again, to date, what is the coolest thing that you have found? Rarest, most interesting piece?
Oh, man, I get this question a lot. I think one of the coolest finds was getting an entire Masters of the Universe line still in the box. A lot of them, they were opened, but still box, stickers not on, complete. An entire line of that was probably one of my favorite finds. I had a friend who reached out and was like, I have a couple of Master Universe toys. Went over to their house thinking, okay, normally people have like a little basket of like loose He-Man and Skeletor.
Yeah, missing an arm or a head, yeah.
Right, and this literally was the entire line.
That's crazy.
And gorgeous. I mean, these boxes were gorgeous because they were actually kept up north, so there wasn't the humidity.
Gotcha.
So, of course, the pictures were gorgeous on them and stuff. I think it's one of my favorites. I've definitely found some cool figures, just one-shot figures at thrift stores and stuff. Found an original Jurassic Park T-Rex and Triceratops at a thrift store. They were going for $1 each, and those are nice little finds. Yeah.
Do you do any restoration of these things, or is it you just find?
Oh no, you got to put work in, especially if you're going from a thrift store. A great little hint, or a little, I shouldn't say hint, but a helper for stuffed animals. If you put them in a pillowcase, make sure you seal the pillowcase with a rubber band. As long as it doesn't have cloth tags on it, it will keep them intact. And if you have cloth tags, using Spot Shot and just cleaning them. Because a lot of times you can find a rare stuffed animal, especially there's a lot of Pokemon ones that are rare and stuff like that. And of course, I get it. They're at a thrift store. They're going to have little stains here and there.
Sure, yeah.
You just put a little work in. Toys that smell like smoke. I found coffee beans. You take a little Tupperware container, put fresh coffee beans in there, throw the toy in there, seal it, leave it for 2 days. Smells fine.
Really?
Yeah. And
how do you find that? How did you find that out? Did you just like, you know what? Let me try this.
It's called Google. It's new. And
New thing.
No, I mean there's lots of other people do other things like that, but I found that one worked best and quickest. Because a lot of times when you're spending a lot of money to buy something, you want to flip it and make the money back so you can go to your next hunt. And I have a seller who he's a smoker, and I mean that's him, and he's always like, hey. I'm like, okay, I'll put the work in.
Wow, that's so. I knew you did a little bit of like fixer upper stuff, but I didn't realize like the amount of knowledge that comes with throwing a toy in a Tupperware full of beans to fix that smell.
Well, here's a good one that I think a lot of people, Star Wars, everyone loves Star Wars. I went to a garage sale, and this guy had a box of Star Wars, the play sets, but they were pretty much not complete, or he didn't think they were complete, and beat up, discolored. And he was like, I don't know, I just need to get rid of this box, $10. So I was like, sure, I mean, I'll take it, because even sometimes you can find a part that someone's looking for. And it literally was that Death Star playset that's 3 stories high. It was the complete Jabba the Hutt playset in there.
Oh, wow.
Now, some of the white stuff was discolored. So all you need to do is you take the piece, you put it in hydrogen peroxide, and it makes it white again. So did that, and then it was a little bent because it had been in the heat. And then all you need to do is, if you're not in a warmer area, you can take a little bit of hot water or boiling water. You just got to do it quick, because obviously if you put plastic in boiling water, it's going to conform to whatever. So you want to make sure you're holding it to make sure you can remold it.
So, okay. So again, this guy just said, hey, I have this bin, $10 for the entire bin. Is most of your finds from friends or connections, hey, I just want to get rid of stuff here, give me whatever for it, or are people looking to sell you stuff?
I'm very honest with people and saying, listen, I'm here to make money too. Yeah. I'm not going to rip you off. I'm not going to say, hey, this $100 item's only worth $10. I'm always very honest. I can show them what the price is actually going for, because of course people on eBay and Amazon, they lie a lot, and they'll just list something that's really worth $10 for $300. Right. And a lot of people are naive, and they'll look online and they'll be like, oh, it's listed for $300. And I'm like, yeah, but it didn't sell for that. I like to be very consistent of what things have sold for in the last 14 days.
Gotcha.
And then I'm like, all right, so let's take that number. Let me take a percentage of that off, so then I can make some money on top. Mm-hmm. Now, I would say a lot of times people just want to kind of bulk and get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I've only had a couple people who really were like, listen, I really want to make some money off this.
Like,
can you sell it?
I have a collectible. I want to sell it as a collectible. Yeah.
And then I used to do commissions, but I did all the work, and I realized I was putting all these hours in and making like 10, 15%.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't worth it. It's a lot of work when I'm the one cleaning them, taking the photos, doing the listings, doing all that kind of stuff. Gotcha. And they're making like 80% after eBay and me. And it's like, so it's more now I'm like, hey, listen, you can just make a nice lump sum.
Sure.
And then you're helping someone else out too, paying the bills.
Are you finding in this, again, quarantine that I'm calling it, that people are reaching out more and looking to get rid of stuff just for extra coin in their pocket?
I did a posting, a couple of days ago.
This is
And
what led me to do this, because I was like, oh, right, of course, you have a thing.
right. Definitely. Everyone that's reached out to me has been like, hey, I got these extra boxes. What do you think? Stuff like that. And I'm all about it, because worst case, I'm just going to say, hey, there's nothing I can do with it. Donate it.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it in a garage sale in a couple of months when it's more safe to do garage sales. I'm always honest, because I'm not going to waste their time or my time if it's something that I can't do anything with.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Is there a hot set that everyone's clamoring for, looking for?
Right now, everyone wants the Ghostbuster remake figures at Walmart because they look just like the original line.
Oh, wow.
Now, they are still in the wild. You could have pre-ordered them. They're still in the wild. So they literally look like the vintage packaging of the set that came out way back when. And it's almost misleading, because then some scalpers will put it online and say it's the original. And some people are naive and don't know.
Right, of course.
So a lot of people are trying to find those. And you can still find them in Walmarts here and there. But that is the hot thing if it's coming to action figure wise or toy wise right now. Gotcha. Besides that, people are always looking for vintage toys. I mean, name it, superpowers, Secret Wars. I'll do one of your Marvel things.
Oh, superpowers. God, I haven't thought about superpowers in forever.
I got a complete lot of that from a Canadian one time who found me online and was passing through to go to Disney and brought his collection down.
That's so
cool.
Crazy.
It was awesome.
Is there something happening right now, like brand new, something happening right now that 10, 15 years from now will be the new collectible?
I'll be honest, it's really hard to say that, because I've bought Ninja Turtles when they started re-releasing the show 10 years ago, and it's like 1 out of 10 of them are actually collectible. Star Wars is, it was the Black Series was the thing to do, and now the Black Series are selling for less than you bought them for. Pops, everyone wants Pops, and once you leave the store, they're worth, $3 or $4. Now, there are definitely some rare ones, don't get me wrong. There are definitely those collectible ones. Comic-Con ones are always, something that's a hot item. But to be honest, I've always said this, what someone's going to pay for it is what it's worth. It's really the person and the passion.
Sure.
So I've learned there's no price guide is going to help you unless there's someone who really is like, I want that. It's not going to matter what someone else says it's going for.
So I was watching Player One during this time, and I saw the movies and I saw it again very recently, and it takes place in like the year 2096 or something crazy like that. But all of the references in it are what we consider pop culture today, 80s, right. 90s. What is it about like that maybe 20-year period, 80 to 2000, even maybe 75 to 2000? What is it about that time frame that people just hold on to?
It is your childhood. It is if you look at your life, your fondest memories are usually somewhat of your childhood and somewhat of your early 20s when people go back and look at things. And when you go back at your childhood, a lot of memories for kids are video games and toys. So right now, we're considered whatever, millennials, I guess. And we are now at the age that we have full-time jobs and we can afford to get the things we wanted as a kid. We are now in control. And it's always going to be like that. It's always just like now, some toys that are very, very old, they've kind of started dropping off. Because those buyers are getting older and older and not putting the money into it. Right now, Nintendo 64s, NESs are hot. The vintage Turtles, vintage Star Wars, because this is stuff that we had as kids, and we probably got rid of them. Our parents got rid of them, or we didn't get one of them. So now that we have money, we're like, heck, I want to get this.
Right.
So, and that's what always is going to happen. Is it 20 years from now, whatever our kids, or I guess my kids, are into, they might have been like, man, I wish I had that one Pokemon or that one, I don't even know what's cool right now.
but it's interesting, though, because I still think a lot of the things that are even cool now for your kids who were, 5 and 12, they're clamoring for the Ninja Turtles and sort of Ghostbuster stuff and stuff that was, I feel like it just keeps coming back. to that 20-year period of
Well,
our childhood.
And the reason is because the people who are writing these shows and revamping the toy lines are our age.
Right.
So they're the ones who grew up with it, and they want to relive their childhood.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be Peter Pan and never grow up? You know, we have bills and we have COVID and we have all this stressful thing. So if we can get a toy that's going to take us and remind us of better times when we didn't have responsibilities, that's how simple it is. And these people are now the people who are executives in charge of making cartoons and video games and making the toy lines and making the comic books and all that stuff. So they're literally just going, I loved it when I was a kid. My kids are going to love it too. And the difference is obviously now that social media and digital media is so big that we can get that info from the past. Unlike if you go back further, you know, they couldn't just be like, all right, we want to go ahead and redo the Black Hole series line right now. Like it's, you know, those were so far gone. And so those people were just like, now, you know, we're just like, we're longing for it. We like that escape.
Is there anything that you want to come back from your childhood? Anything that is long past, but that you're like, oh man, this reboot would be great?
I feel like I like the Snorks.
Okay.
See, my thing is, I don't really want remakes.
Yeah. I
just like to watch the classics. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the remakes that are happening. I did like DuckTales.
I don't, but the DuckTales is a really great series. I love the new version. What about anything that maybe not a reboot, but a spaced out continuation?
We all wanted the Labyrinth.
We're all nerdy at this point in time. I'm just curious.
No, I mean, we all wanted the Labyrinth. That's not going to happen. It's hard. Obviously, a Back to the Future would be awesome. A Ghostbusters, not from what I saw a trailer of, that is just Stranger Things Part 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff that's more true to the classic stuff. I'd be fine if it wasn't a remake and a continuation, but you know, they've waited so long with some of these, you know, we lose actors every day, and then we have actors that just don't care anymore. I mean, if I'm going to get real nerdy, I wanted Sex and the City 3, and it never happened. Okay. So that wasn't from my childhood, for the record. But
from your early adulthood.
That's from my 20s. That's something.
Yeah. So where do we find you? Where do we reach out to you and go, hey, we have this crap to get rid of. Hey, we want to buy stuff. How do we contact you?
All right. So a couple ways. Easiest way, if you're one of those people who just don't want to go on social media, is my email. And that's non-confrontational and very easy. I check it every day, which is just joystoystore@gmail.com. And I'll, of course, spell it out. JOYSTORE. No, that's not right. I've never had to spell it.
No, you don't have to spell it. I will definitely put it in the link.
Joy's Toy Store. JOYTO. It's joystoystore@gmail.com. And
to clarify, it's Joy's Toy Store, because I did see a Joy Toys store. So your S is on the end of your name, not Toy.
Joy's Toy Store. Gotcha. @gmail.com.
Awesome.
And social media, Facebook, Joy's Toy Store. Just search it. I am the only one of that one. Just make sure it's actually Joy's Toy Store. And then on Instagram, squish it all together, Joy's Toy Store. Easiest way, because you can DM me on any of those things.
Right.
And then, you can just reach out if you're looking for something, if you want to get rid of stuff, anything like that.
Cool. Of course, I'll put all those links in a description down below, so nice and easy to find. Rather than doing all the search, you don't have to do that. And Joy, is there anything else you want to share with us before we sign off today?
I think the best advice is never grow up. Live every day to the fullest and just have fun.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Joy, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and great seeing you, friend. I'll see you in person on the other side of this, yeah?
With a beer, yes.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much for watching With a Side of Hustle. As always, comment, subscribe, all those YouTube mantras. And thank you for watching. We will see you next time.